This video is sponsored by Torras. This is the OPPO Find N6, and up until very recently, I would have told you that this phone was a gimmick. Previously, I'd always found foldables to have too many trade-offs compared to a standard smartphone. There were always questions with durability and build quality, and they never quite made sense for me personally. I've also been primarily an iPhone user, so I just haven't had the same level of exposure to them, and all the improvements made year over year. And frankly, I never thought that I would be won over by a phone like this, but for the past 2 months, I have been using this as my primary phone, and that's no longer the case. It's actually pretty wild how polished this feels. The N6 is definitely not all perfect, and there are still some gotchas with this phone to be aware of, especially if you live in North America, but let's get into just how far foldables like this have come. I still remember the first time I held a foldable phone, and I was super impressed with the tech itself, but it really had no real purpose for me. I'd consider myself somewhat of a display snob, and I could never get behind a screen that had a big crease in the middle of it. The hardware often seemed like a step behind other flagship models, and beyond that, I always had concerns with durability. Up until the last couple of years, the build quality has been questionable as well, and more so than anything else, they just didn't seem all that useful to me. I did play around with the different form factors, and I even reviewed the OPPO Find N2 flip on the channel a few years back, but for whatever reason, I had my mind made up that foldables were basically a worse version of a bar phone that was more expensive. And this Find N6 has changed that perception, but it didn't start out that way. I've got two different phone lines. One I use for my main phone, and the other one I normally use for reviews, and thanks to Apple switching entirely to eSIM only in the fall, both those lines were on eSIM, and because this phone is an import that isn't available here, and all Canadian carriers have terrible eSIM support when it comes to switching devices on Android, I eventually had to go in and buy a physical SIM to get things to work. Not being available in North America does come with some other big catches, like having no official warranty or carrier support, and no guarantee that it'll even play nice with your network, which I do want to get into because that's no small footnote, but my initial impression was just how stunning this phone looks. For anyone who's never seen this phone, the Find N6 is OPPO's flagship book-style foldable that opens up to an 8.12-inch inner display and folds shut to a 6.62-inch cover screen that you would use like any other normal phone. The frame is made up of 7000 series aluminum with a titanium hinge, and holding it in my hand, it's honestly one of the most premium looking and feeling phones that I've used, foldable or otherwise. It can be a tad slippery at times if you're using it one-handed folded up, but the nice thing is, the camera bump is big enough that I can rest my finger on the back, and it gives me better grip and is more comfortable. And using it caseless over the last 2 months, I've got no marks or scratches on it at all. Folded, it is only 8.9 millimeters thick, so just a hair thicker than my iPhone 17 Pro, and is also very similar in weight at only 225 grams. So unlike older foldables, you really make no sacrifices in that department at all. It feels like a regular phone, and the crazy part is when you open it up, it's only 4.2 millimeters thick, which is over a full millimeter thinner than the iPhone Air. OPPO markets this as a zero feel crease when it's open. That feels a bit dishonest because there is definitely a crease here. Granted, it's less pronounced than most foldables, but you can feel it with your finger and see it at an angle, but looking at content head-on, it does completely disappear. Any content on either screen has great quality though, with each being an LTPO OLED panel running 1 to 120 Hz, and they've got matching brightness specs in high brightness mode, peaking at up to 1800 nits. The overall peak brightness is higher on the cover screen, but both are easily viewable in direct sunlight. The one caveat I have with the inner screen is that it does tend to collect fingerprints a lot easier than the outer one. I've tried to be super careful with it, but I always find myself wiping it down a lot more than a standard glass display. It's a super minor thing, but I think it is worth noting. That being said, that inner screen is really what changed my whole opinion on foldables because it's been surprisingly functional for me. Unlike multitasking on phones, which I've never been a huge fan of just due to how cramped everything is, this seems a lot more usable and like a tablet. Using the built-in free flow window, I can put up to 4 apps floating in resizable windows on here at once, but 2 is more so the sweet spot for me. The Fold also doubles as a built-in stand that's been quite handy for propping it up for watching content or taking hands-free calls without needing any accessories. And I do use it all the time as a Wi-Fi monitor for my mirrorless camera. Having a larger screen has been genuinely useful for things like that, and both the cover and inside screen are very color accurate, so I can generally trust what I see on the screen is what I'm gonna see on others. Shooting video with this is the same story. Unfolded, you get a much larger view of your frame, and my only wish with this is that more apps would support larger screen sizes like this instead of just giving you the same phone UI. I would love to be able to split out threads into different lists like you can on desktop, but I realize that's more of a platform issue rather than with this phone or with Android. And speaking of foldable products, one other one that I've got here comes from this week's sponsor, Torras COOLiFY. The COOLiFY lineup are basically little air conditioners that you wear around your neck. This one that I'm using is called the Cyber Fold, which is their top-end model, built for the strongest cooling with 3 semiconductor plates, and the largest cooling area of any neck cooler out there. It even folds down to half its size, so it is easy to toss in a bag or pack around outdoors. And there's also the 2S Pro, which is lighter and more comfortable with longer battery life, up to 28 hours on fan mode. That's the one to grab for longer stretches. I'll throw one of these on while I'm mowing the lawn or when I come back from a run and I want to cool off. The best way that I can describe it is that it feels like placing an ice-cold drink against your neck. They keep me cool enough to stay focused inside when it gets too warm and enjoy being outside without the heat being overbearing. I will link them below if you want to check them out. Outside that, I've been running my regular lineup of apps on here, all running on ColorOS 16 on top of Android 16. I'm pretty familiar with ColorOS, having used Oxygen OS on OnePlus, which is basically the same OS. But what I like about ColorOS is that there is very little bloat, and it does borrow a lot from iOS. At least the good parts, to the point where, as an iPhone person, things feel fairly familiar. There's a physical snap key on the side of the phone that works basically like the iPhone's action button, and global search is very similar to Spotlight search, which I use all the time. On top of that, Quick Share or using Blip on Android can replace AirDrop, and I've got OPPO's O+ Connect app set up on my Mac, where not only can I transfer files and copy and paste between my Mac and the N6, but I can even remote into my Mac and control it right from the phone, which is pretty wild and is actually usable on a screen this size. With all of that, I haven't missed the ecosystem at all using this, especially since I got this Fitbit Air. Let me know if you guys would like to see a review on this, because I think this might actually replace my Apple Watch from here on out, but the only thing I wish Android would natively add at some point is copy and pasting images, because it's something that I use all the time on my iPhone that you just don't get here. In contrast to that though, one thing that the N6 actually beats my iPhone on is battery life. The 6000 mAh silicon carbon battery is much larger than the one in my 17 Pro, and in real-world use, this thing is kinda bonkers. Just using the cover screen, I get about 2 hours more screen on time on a single charge over my iPhone, and using it open, it still lasts a touch longer, even though it's powering a much larger display. Not only that, but the Find N6 charges up to 80 watts wired and 50 watts wireless. That is twice as much as the iPhone 17 Pro, and can go from nearly dead to 50% in about 20 minutes, and to a full 100 in under an hour, so super respectable there. Now, a big part of what makes this phone work so well in all these different aspects is due to what's powering everything. Inside here is a 7-core Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. So it's not the same 8-core chip that you see in other flagships. In raw benchmarks, you can see it trails those slightly, but in actual use, you would never know otherwise. Anything resource-intensive runs buttery smooth, whether you're multitasking between apps, editing photos, or gaming on the larger screen. It can heat up around the camera bump if you really tax it, but otherwise it's not something that I ever notice. I don't really even know if I felt it stutter in the 2 months that I've been using it, and I'd say that for 99% of what you're gonna do on a phone, this is going to handle it with zero issues. In fact, probably the most resource-intensive thing that you can do on most phones is use the camera system, especially if you're recording video. And this is where I usually see the biggest trade-off with foldables, but I don't think that's the case here. The main camera has a 200 megapixel main sensor, followed by a 50 megapixel 3x telephoto and a 50 megapixel ultra-wide that has autofocus, which, again, is rare for a foldable, and for video, it'll shoot up to 4K at 120 frames per second with a log profile and a live LUT preview, which is outstanding not just for a foldable, but any flagship. In regards to the photos, I would say the quality is decent, but could be a tad better. The main lens takes nice sharp images with good color, and the ultra-wide is surprisingly sharp with good dynamic range. The telephoto is okay, although the reach isn't as far as I would like, and the selfie cameras are fine, I guess. I never use these for photos, but day to day, I've been really happy with this camera system. On the video side of things, the quality is also good, but the iPhone is still the king when it comes to that, and it's one of the main reasons why I've got my iPhone kicking around while I've been using the N6, as I just can't give that up. But the other thing that I want to get into that has probably the hugest catch of all with this phone is with connectivity. You do get the latest and greatest here with Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6 that has worked amazingly well with 0 drops and a really strong connection regardless of what you're pairing it up to, but the catch comes back to that import situation. Beyond that initial issue with my SIM card, while the Find N6 does support 5G and seems to support the correct bands here, they don't seem to be whitelisted to work in Canada, which is why I've been stuck using LTE this whole time. For me, that's not a huge deal because I'm usually at home or somewhere that has Wi-Fi, and even when I'm out and about, everything I normally access works fine, but for some folks that may be an issue. The only other real downside for me has been the lack of MagSafe, so I can't use any of my chargers or accessories that I would regularly use. And obviously using this for only 2 months, there's no way for me to know what durability would look like with thousands of folds or how it would hold up with drops or damage, but for the most part, I was completely wrong on what I would think of this device. Holding and using it, it feels like a much more polished phone than my iPhone 17 Pro, and a lot like the iPhone Air in many aspects. The crease really isn't noticeable at all on the inside screen, and I find I'm not making any sacrifices with the hardware itself over any other premium flagship phone. It is really a shame that this phone isn't available here, because if I had true 5G support with warranty, I would probably end up using this long term as my primary device, but at the very least, it's made me a lot more foldable curious, where I may even check out the new Galaxy Z Fold 8 or the new iPhone Fold when that comes out. I would actually love to know where you guys stand on this. If you're an iPhone or a slab Android person who has written off foldables, what's the one objection that's still keeping you from trying one out? Let me know in the comments down below. That's all I got for you today. If you want to see more tech-related content, or help me design a hinge that audibly sighs every time you unfold it to check a notification that turns out to be nothing, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next upload.